Go ahead, click it.
We saw that one.
Yeah, I know, but I'm still going to give you points. Go ahead.
On what is like to be on the popular vote by your own state?
-1!
What?
Yeah, well, you put in the wrong.
I put it in the wrong spot, yeah. -1. If you get it wrong, I'm going to take away points. Go ahead, click it. Touch the house. Pick me a category.
Executive 5.
Executive for 5. Now we got a player. Click it. 25th Amendment. You have it first. Other groups have it next. This is something we just went over this week. What are the sections of the 25th Amendment? And you can leave it up so it says 25th Amendment. 5. Oh, one of the most important amendments in the Constitution. 4.
You may explain.
There's 4 separate parts. 3.
Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4.
Yeah, those are the parts. Yeah. 2. Oh, wow. Go ahead, $2J.
Is it along the presidency?
Okay, it's the one with the presidency. Yeah, that's a start.
About the vice president and
Alicia, go ahead. Walk around. Get up close on $2J. Tell me about the vice president. What's it doing?
it's like
You can get closer, Alicia. Go ahead. He's not going to bite.
I'm just trying to remember how it is. One, if the president can no longer go for the full 4 years,
Yeah.
the vice president takes over.
Section 1 actually says that if, in fact, the president, if there's a vacancy in the office of the president, the vice president will rise to the presidency. This is the least controversial piece of this. What was the second one? Because if the vice president rises, now there's a vacancy in the vice presidency, right?
Yeah.
How do they fill it? Do you remember? 5.
Majority rule of the House.
Majority rule of the House.
Yeah.
So the House gets to pick the vice president, and then they have a majority vote.
Wait,
5.
repeat the question?
If the vice president rises to the presidency,
No,
how
both
do,
houses. Both houses.
how do they fill the vice presidency?
The
It
majority.
actually is. The president nominates with the vote of the House and the Senate. This is the only place where that happens. Here's my question for you. That really doesn't seem like that big of a deal that you can just nominate a vice president. Do you remember why they put this in? Why they had to have this section? 5.
Because of the 1800 election, I believe.
That's a different amendment. I'll move on. Y'all two are out. Do you have anything? Why they had to add that second piece?
Why they had to add the 25th Amendment?
The second part of the 22nd Amendment says if there's a vacancy in the office of the vice president, then the president will nominate, subject to a majority vote by both houses of Congress. That seems pretty straightforward. Why did they have to add that, do you know?
Is it because of Spiro Agnew or is it because of Burr?
It's not because of either of them.
Not because of either.
It's not because of either of them.
Quick question. What did it have to say already?
Just what I repeated to you, what the second section is. The second section of the 25th Amendment, if you remember, I mentioned the other day that oftentimes if a vice president rose to the presidency,
Is it because of the majority of the House? The vice president can't become president of the vote of majority of the House. Is that the second section?
no, we've already talked about it. We're just asking why about the second section now. If you remember, if the vice president rose to the presidency, there was nothing in the Constitution that said how you picked the vice president. So presidents sometimes would go until the next election and they would not have a vice president. That's why they put this one in. Anybody know Section 3? Oh, this is going to be bad. Go ahead, $2J.
Is it about the terms?
It's not about the terms. That's a different amendment, but that's on this board. Section 3 says that if the president submits a letter to the leadership of the House and the leadership of the Senate that he is no longer able to fulfill the duties of the presidency, then the vice president will take over. Can you think of an example of a time when that happened? Go ahead.
When Bush Jr. had to get surgery, then Dick Cheney was the president for a while.
He did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You had -1, now you have 4. George W. actually had surgery. It was feared for cancer. And ultimately, he did use the 25th Amendment. He gave the presidency over to Dick Cheney, and then he actually took it back. And then typically, after the president takes it back, that's when they announce that the president had given it up. So I've given you 1, I've given you 2, I've given you 3. What's Section 4? Because that's the scariest one of them all. Go ahead.
Is that like the cabinet can vote and if they deem the president to be
Cabinet and who?
vice president.
If the vice president and a majority of the cabinet deem that the president is not fit. Oh, is that my bad? Yeah, watch me. I'm getting old. Watch me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, if the vice president and a majority of the cabinet deem the president unfit, they put it in writing to leadership of the House, leadership of the Senate, and then who becomes president?
The vice president.
Who becomes president? Y'all have control. 5.
Vice president.
It is the vice president. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, when you got control, that's when you give the answers. When can the president get power back? The vice president and the cabinet took it away. In section 3, all the president has to do is write a letter and the president can get it back. What happens in section 4?
Vote by,
If you're not sure, don't do it. Don't do it. It's the majority of the cabinet and the president cannot take it back. The vice president and the cabinet will give it back if they deem it, but they don't have to. Go ahead, click it if you would, please. And remember, and then let me just say, when people start yelling, help me figure out who the next hand is sometimes. So if I look over and say, Fantrella, who? You just point, okay? Y'all gave me the last correct answer. Pick me a category. You have the lead right now, albeit very slim.
executive 4.
Executive for 4. Pictionary, who's going to draw? Muhammad, I'm going to assume that you're in with that group, so you work with them, help them give answers. Any of y'all can draw. You know, if you can't draw worth shit, Robert, then you're the best person to come in. Isn't that what he just said? I thought. Okay, come on, Lucas.
So he's drawing, we're guessing what it is.
Yeah, you're going to have 1 minute on this. That's all I need you to draw. Got it? Got it? 1 minute on the 4. Go ahead, have at it, Lucas. Y'all can yell as much as you want, brainstorm, no points come off. You just have to.
And we're guessing what it is before we relate.
What he's drawing, and this has to do with the executive chapter somehow. And if y'all need to step up or something like that, that's fine. Yeah, Lisa, don't say no. Come on, get close to him. Yeah, get in the action, girl. Don't let them chili dogs hold you back.
I don't know what that is.
I know. I just don't let the chili dogs hold you back.
That sounds nasty.
That's what
I
we're
love
doing.
chili
I use my
dogs.
answer base.
You can erase whatever you need. Just no words, no numbers. The bottom.
Election of
That's what he's drawing.
1800.
Oh yeah. Okay. It looks like Hangman.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
Duel between
Election?
Amber and.
The duel, huh? What number did I say?
TV. Oh, it's the first, what do you call it, debate on TV.
Okay, you're getting warmer, but that's not what he's drawing. What did he draw? You can use arrows.
Is he watching
Is it,
TV?
I think it's been a minute.
is it,
Okay, I think Caleb is losing interest. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Any guess at all? Okay. First hand I see, it's really not bad. It's really not bad. He drew makeup. First hand I see, let me
Oh, that's a
say what I want to say.
I said your reflection.
What's the significance of makeup? First hand I see.
Robert.
Yeah, I think it is Robert.
When Nixon and Kennedy were going up against each other, Nixon refused to put on makeup.
Okay, there was something, this was 1960, so there was something that happened for the first time, right? What, well, go ahead.
The presidential debate on TV.
This was the first time that there was a presidential debate on TV. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tell me more. So Nixon was going to this debate, Robert, and
And he was like really sick and pale, and he didn't want to put on the makeup.
why?
Because he said it was more feminine.
Yeah, and Nixon was actually worried in a very, very close election that if people saw him wearing makeup, that this would cost him the election. So he didn't wear the makeup, and he looked horrible. There were 3 or 4 other things that he messed up on during the debate too. What?
he wore a black suit against a black backdrop.
Wore a black suit against a black backdrop, which ultimately meant that this only accentuated his paleness. Go ahead.
He didn't look at the.
He's looking at the monitor.
Yeah, he was looking at the.
Whoa.
Looking at the moderator.
He was okay, yeah. He was looking at the moderator. He was not looking at the TV. Kennedy, did Kennedy have to wear makeup?
No.
Why? 5.
That's in California, he's 10.
Kennedy had just come back from California when he was campaigning, so he didn't need it. What about this whole eye contact thing with Kennedy? Kennedy looked directly at the monitor, and the American people thought that Kennedy was looking at them. So there's the monitor, there's the makeup, there's the suit. Anything else? 3, 2, 1. Go, Dennis Jimenez.
Richard Nixon won the vote by radio because at the time most people had the radio, and Nixon won the radio majority.
That's true, but now let me come back. What else did he mess up on TV? There was the suit, there was the makeup, there was the monitor. There were a couple of other things. 5. Your group's got it. Anything at all? 4. What did he mess up on? 3, 2. Want it? Come on, $2 Jay. You know this story. He had a 5 o'clock shadow. He was sweating throughout under the lights. Nixon did not project well. Dennis Jimenez, I'm coming back to you. So when people watched on TV, who did they think won?
Kennedy.
And when they listened on the radio, who did they think won?
Nixon.
Yeah, they did. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're listening on the radio, what are you judging?
People on their views and how to expect.
How they expect?
On their views on politically and how to fix the country.
They were actually ruling on his ideas. Nixon always felt cheated from this 1960 election because the only thing that you could judge on radio was the person's ideas and the way they presented, and Nixon presented better ideas on radio. But more people watched it on TV, and they paid attention to the sizzle more than the substance. The eye contact, the pale, the no makeup, the suit, the appearance in general. Keep that thought in mind. And the moral of all this is, you don't win the presidency because of a debate, but you can lose it because of the debate. That's why they always make a big deal. Go ahead, click it if you would. You did give me the last correct answer. Pick me a category. 16, 35, and 10.
The article for 5.
Articles for 5, he says. Not that column. No, yeah. Requirements to be president. First hand, go ahead.
You gotta be at least 35 years old.
Gotta be a minimum of 35. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You gotta be born in the United States.
Gotta be a natural born American citizen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 3, 2. There's one more. 1. Go ahead.
14-year residency.
14-year residency. And you ultimately have to take an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. First hand I see, open to everybody. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you meant for the next question.
Yeah, I do, but I haven't given you the next question. If you buzz in, I'm going to take away points. You do it again. What are the informal requirements to be president? Go ahead.
You gotta be white. You gotta be tall, about 6'4". You gotta be male.
You got to be white, although that expired with Barack, according to the video.
You gotta be rich.
Tall, rich. These are all things that came up in that video. Anything else? 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Married.
Married is something that actually came up an awful lot on this. Anything else?
Protestant.
Protestant, go.
You have an ego.
Say what now?
Ego.
What about an ego?
You gotta have like a big ego.
Gotta have a big ego. Okay, probably. Anyway, go ahead. 4.
Presidential. I don't know.
You gotta look present. Look at that video. Go ahead, $2 Jay.
You have to be straight.
Straight $2 Jay. Well, that's the wrong group. My bad. Yeah, that's one of the other things that came up. I don't want to be like disrespectful when I say this. It's not law, but after several hundred years, these are patterns or trends that have been out there. Keep in mind, there's the formal requirements a lot of people fulfill, but these informal ones, a lot of people can get eliminated for. You gave me the last correct answer. If you would, Ventrella,